It's time for a top 10 list, my favorite foods on a plant-based diet. Okay, disclaimer here, I am type 2 diabetic, which means that I may be a little bit choosy about certain foods, so your top 10 list might be slightly different than mine, but hey, it's all good, right? Number 10, vegetable broth. Now, this not only adds a little bit of flavor, but it's actually a great way to cook, and we do it so that I don't have to use oil when I'm cooking. We do make our own, and we actually have a video on how to do it from basically kitchen scraps. I have so many uses for vegetable broth. It ends up in almost everything. I put it into sauces and gravies and soups and you name it, it goes in there. But the greatest thing is when I use it instead of using oil for sauteing and pan cooking. I tend to make ours kind of a neutral flavor, so it doesn't have any strong herbs or spices in it. That way I can flavor it later on using some of the other things further down this list. Number 9 is bell peppers. Now, we tend to use the red ones because they have the most nutrient content. Something surprising about them too is Derica, actually, we thought she was allergic to them for the longest time, so we avoided them like the plague, but now it seems like she can eat them just fine. Fun fact, green, yellow, and red bell peppers are actually all the exact same vegetable fruit. I think it's a fruit actually. And the only difference is how ripe they are, but that's why the red ones actually have the most nutrients because they're the most ripe. They have a nice sweetness of flavor and there's a specific flavor that you cannot get through other vegetables at all, and I add them to everything from salads to soups to stews to you name it, they go in everything. Bell pepper is just ubiquitous and awesome. Number 8, nutritional yeast. This is one food that I had never tried, not even once before I went plant-based, and now I find myself using it more and more often. It actually adds a really awesome umami flavor. If you don't know what umami is, that's kind of like soy sauce. It's not exactly salty. It's got almost a meaty-ish thing, but meaty isn't even the right word. Mushrooms also add an umami kind of flavor. It's a savory thing, and it just adds extra to dishes. You might not notice it if it wasn't there, but by adding it, it changes things a little bit. It's also known for being a little bit cheesy tasting. I don't find it on its own to taste much like cheese, but hey, you want to sprinkle something on your pasta? Use it like Parmesan cheese. You want to make a cheesy tasting sauce? Use it that way. I've actually made macaroni and cheese using that, and it worked wonderfully well and tasted like macaroni and cheese. We get the non-fortified version of nutritional yeast because there's a synthetic folic acid added to fortify the fortified version, and that can cause the body some problems long term, so we tend to avoid it. Number 7. Spinach and kale. And in here, I'm just going to say any dark leafy green. Okay, that's your mustards, collards, all of those greens. They're all really, really good for you. I use spinach raw in salads along with lettuce and all the other vegetables. And then kale and all the others, I cook those. Not really a fan of raw kale. Just doesn't work for me. However, I do put it in everything. I put it in tomato sauces, I put it in pasta dishes, stir fries, you name it. I even put it in chili. Once it cooks down, you barely even know it's there, but it does add a touch of color and a ton of nutrition. The darker, the better when it comes to green leafy vegetables. They add a lot of nutrition, a lot of fiber, and just overall tons of nutrients that your body really needs. Number 6 is mushrooms. Mushrooms can literally prevent cancer. Up to 45% of less incidence of cancer in people who eat mushrooms daily versus those that don't. That's crazy. Add to that mushrooms are, delicious. They're very easy to prepare. We have them raw in salads and cooked in pretty much everything. One of the most versatile things you can have, and they give that little bit of a meatiness to things. Plus, mushroom stock is a thing, and it is an awesome thing. Number 5, berries, specifically blueberries, and I have to read this one because there's a couple of long words here that I just can't remember. I have them every day, and here's why. The polyphenolic compounds found in berries, and specifically berry anthocyanidins, say that 3 times fast, have potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that may prevent obesity-related disorders, including type 2 diabetes. Plus, they taste good. Number 4 is beans and lentils, basically all of your legumes. Now, these are some of the healthiest foods you can actually eat. It's been proven that the people that live in the blue zones, which is the people that live the longest of anyone on the planet, eat a lot of beans. Seriously. Eat your beans. They're very, very good for you. They provide a lot of nutrients, protein, fiber, and they help with your gut bacteria to give a healthy gut biome, which We're finding out more and more that that gut biome is everything about your health, and fiber is a big, big portion of that. Most of the things on this list, you'll notice, are very rich in fiber. Number 3, herbs and spices. Hey, you know what? It's really great to eat all this healthy food, but sometimes you just need an awesome dose of flavor, and that's where herbs and spices come in. A lot of people think that they're just there for flavorings, but in reality, a lot of herbs and spices are full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, and they're packed into very concentrated small bundles. These things are not to be overlooked, and you can use it in everything. They literally can change a dish from bland to amazing in no time. Number 2, onions and garlic. I have said that if I'm not using onions in a dish, that I'm probably not cooking. Same goes for garlic. They're both alliums, and that's an important thing. The medicinal properties of onions and garlic have been used since ancient times, and some of the things that they were used to treat were headaches, heart disease, and even mouth sores. Quercetin is an antioxidant flavonoid that's highly concentrated in onions. Since it's such a potent anti-inflammatory, it can reduce risk factors for heart disease, such as high blood pressure. Number 1, cashew cream. This is the cream of the crop. Get it? Since there's no dairy on a plant-based diet, we're missing things like mayonnaise, sour cream, cheese, all sorts of creamy type sauces like Alfredo and things like that. I know I am a big fan of those things. Cashew cream to the rescue. You can flavor it with all sorts of ingredients like, many of the things on the list up above, but it's a double deal here. You need, or really should, eat a certain amount of nuts a day. For me, that's anywhere from like 1 to 3 ounces. That's a pretty decent handful, okay? That's quite a bit of nuts. But don't just eat the nuts, make them into salad dressings, sauces, dips for veggies, any number of things, spreads to go on sandwiches if you want to. There's so many ways to use cashew cream. It is possibly the most versatile thing. And yes, it tastes really good. We actually have a video on how to make it. Most people tell me after trying it that they say,
I don't know why I never did this before.
Exactly. It's so good for you. It's so healthy and it tastes amazing. The versatility is incredible. Plus, it's not dairy, so all the downsides to dairy don't come along with it, yet you still get your creamy sauces. If you have a favorite plant-based food that I didn't mention on my list, feel free to leave it in a comment below. Let's talk about it. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.